ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्। So in the last class, the last mantra was Nayam Atma Balahina Libhyaha Naja Pramadat Tapasaha Va Api Alingat. So there the question was there Api Alingat. Shankaracharya, when explaining the Alingat, he has used the word sannyasa as the linga. So alingat vapi avilingat means not even by taking sannyasa is what he has explained in that. That can be one of the way in which it can be explained, which I omitted in the last class. So etai upayai ete tastu vidwan tasya esha atma vishade brahmadama. So what does it say that? Brahmadama, the abode of Brahman. Now this is the subject which is going to be discussed in detail in the coming sutras, coming mantras, and it is what are the achievement? How does it appear to be? Is what is being given. So one who knows, the wise who knows this Atman, he enters. Now the word enters when he vishate, when uses. It is normally when we have two things, one can enter the other. But what does the mean Vishate here in the Brahmadama? Because some commentators have mentioned Brahmadama as Brahmaloka, and where the seeker enters the Brahmaloka till the Pralaya, Mahapralaya, and then he attains Mukti from the Brahmaloka. But that is not the way in which Shankaracharya has explained in the Advaita philosophy. Brahmadama is the abode of Brahma, is Brahma eva. Brahma is Brahmadama means it is the place where Brahma is there, which means Sarvagatam Susukshmam. When you say that, there is no place which is not a Brahmadama. So from that point of view, every moment or every location or every spot is a Brahma spot, because without Brahma nothing can exist. So how can, when you are already in it, how can you attain it? I mean, how can you vishate in it? So there is the vishate is when an obstacle is removed, as the spot covering a lamp, when it is removed, the lamp shines by itself. Same way, when the ignorance in the jiva, by ajnana samshaya viparya rupena, these are the three things: the doubt and misconception, misapprehension, and doubt on the teaching. When these three gets removed, then you get into a state of conviction of nididhyasana or nishchidat nigadhi. At that time, it is as if, when the rope is removed, you become free. See, the rope was never a restriction. As long as you don't consider the rope as a restriction, the rope became a restriction only for movement, but not for your awareness or your thinking. You are not the body. So the restriction of the rope was only on the body. It's like that. The Brahmavit, or the one who has known the Brahma, he doesn't identify with his body anymore. So he is as if he is attaining that, is what it is mentioned in this verse. Now, to explain some other aspects in the Samprapya, next mantra says that Samprapya yenam rishayaha jnana triptaha kritatmanaha vitaragaha prashantaha te sarvagam sarvataha prapya dhira yuktamanaha sarvam eva avishanti. Samprapya, having attained. So in the previous mantra we saw that he attained Vishate Brahmadhama. So having now attained that, this state of Brahmadhama, Rishayaha, one who have been, Rishis who have been steadfast in realizing this, by how did they do it? Jnana Triptaha, by satisfying that through knowledge. It is not this is again very clear that when they say Jnana Triptaha Rishayaha, the rishis became attaining at the state is only through Jnana. The Jnana eva Jnana evatu Kaivalyam is being established again by that. That oneness with the Brahman happens only through knowledge. It is not a physical movement. It is not an experience which is not already existing in us. It is by knowing what is we are experiencing. With the correct knowledge, what we experience becomes a reality, not what is changing, which isn't. There you should remember that Satyam eva jayate na anrutam. So that mantra should keep it in mind when we say that the reality is that existence. Anrutam is the one which is delusion, which is causing the delusion. So when the delusions are gone and the knowledge gets established, they become that jnana druptaha. And because of that, what is the result? Kritatmanaha. They are self-contained. There is nothing more to be achieved, nothing more work to be done. They are in a bliss of self-attained, contentment. That is the Kritatmanaha. And how does that Kritatmanatvam happen? That or that state of, self-satisfied or self-contained state appear that when you become Vidaraga. Without any attachments or desires, when you don't have any more desires, there is nothing prompting you to do any action or to achieve anything. So, janadi ichchati yadate. If you know something is other than you, then you have tendency to have a desire for that and attain, you can work for that. But when your desires are subsided and you know the desires are the vagaries of the mind and the mind is not what you are observing your mind. So the desires of the mind is not yours. So that is of the mind. And you being the observer of the mind can detach from the desires. So therefore the vidaragatvam or the detachment of the desires or the state of devoid of desires happens only by knowledge. That is why jnana triptaha kritatmanaha vitaragaha has been mentioned one after the other. And after that, what happens? We become prashantaha. The shanti is that shanti which comes from when nothing else is there to disturb the peace. That is the only peace which you can really call as a peace. Anything which appears other than us or other than the individual, that peace is disturbed because the presence of the other one is always a cause of either attraction or repulsion or a worry or any sort of mental attitude can come towards that. But when you don't have nothing other than you yourself or our Atman or our knowledge or our being, our awareness is the only thing which is there, that is the time there is nothing to disturb the peace. Something similar to what we are experiencing in our deep sleep. We are there, there is nothing to disturb us from that. We know we exist, we had a good sleep and there was nothing disturbing that state of tranquility and atmosphere which we get rejuvenated. Similar to that will be the state of a jnani who has kritatmanaha, who has jnanatriptaha, who is called a rishi. So a rishi enjoys the same peace what we get in our normal deep sleep, even when he is awake or he is in dream, because he doesn't see anything other than himself, or there is no separation, and therefore the oneness is always in his feeling. Te sarvagam, therefore they are all pervading, because when you become everything, you can be called you are pervading everything. And sarvada, in all places. The space, spatial or time or movement, all those things becomes, words of no meaning from that point of view, because where can the space move? Where can the space travel? Or where is the multiple location where the space is not there so that the space can move? So sarvagam sarvataha is only, and the word can confuse here. The prapya, one who has reached what? It is not that he has reached a space or anything. Jnana triptaha, that state, having prapya, having reached the state of containment through the knowledge, dhiraha, dhimantaha, yuktatmanaha, is self-attained. Yukta means become one with Atma, Yujidatu, from that yoga or Atma Samyoga, becoming one with the Atma himself, or he was Atma, he is Atma, and he knew that he is all, everything. Sarvam apnodi sarvashaha is what the Chandogya Upanishad says when Narada and Sanaka Maharshi, when the conversation, this Bhuma or this Brahman, Sarvam apnodi sarvashaha. It is pervading. Apnodi means to pervade. Sarvam apnodi. It pervades everything. Sarvashaha means all the time. That knowledge is what is happening to the dhira, the wise one. And sarvam eva avisandi. The same meaning is conveyed here by this another word, that he pervades everything. Sarvam apnodi sarvashaha. That Chandogya Upanishad word is put it in a different words here, that's all, but the meaning being the same. So that rishi who has understood this realization, had the knowledge of what is the reality, having understood and attained that, he is a kritatmanaha, he is a one who is self-satisfied. And how does it appear to be? This is a very important mantra which is chanted when, great Mahatmas are being welcomed by the ashramams or holy places. They chant this mantra as a part of the rituals. Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitartaha Sannyasa Yogat Yatayas Shuddha Sattvaha Te Brahmalokeshu Parandakale Paramruda Parimuchyandi Sarve. Beautiful verse. Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitartha. It is actually it's a compound word. Vedanta Vijnanam Sunischitam Artham. There are 4 words in it. So, Sunischitartha, well established in the meanings of what? Vedanta Vijnana. What knowledge has been conveyed through the Vedanta or the Upanishad. Having got clarity of the essence of the Vedas and established in that knowledge, how did they do that? Sannyasa Yoga. The act of renunciation is not the ochre rope or the lakshana or the method in which it is to be counted. Samyak jnasyate iti sannyasa. As absolute detachment is what is called sannyasa. And yoga is the method in which that is being done. Therefore, sannyasa yoga becomes the method through which utmost detachment is being practiced by those who yatayaha, those who renounce it. They become established in the knowledge of the Vedanta and clarity of that knowledge. Therefore, they become Shuddha Sattvaha, of pure mind, absolutely clear mind. There is no contain contamination in their mind. Vidyade hridaya gradin chindyade sarva samsheha shiyande chastya karmani tasmin drishtaya paravare is the mantra which we studied earlier. So all the three type of knots of ajnana samshaya viparyaya, that ignorance, doubt and misapprehension, all these type of contamination is removed from the mind because they are established in the clear knowledge of the Vedanta, Icha Vijnana, and therefore their mind becomes pure. Te Brahmalokeshu, in the Brahmaloka, Parandakale, at the time of death, Paramrita become one with the immortal, Para Amrita, Parimuchandi, they completely resolve into that one, which is, here is the word Brahmaloka need a explanation. Brahma eva Brahmaloka. So, Brahma, the same word will keep coming, Brahma again and again in the mantras coming also. So, with the knowledge, what really happens, they are not going to have, the moment that knowledge become a conviction, the individuality or the ego or the separation which they feel, the yataha, the yoga sannyasi, or the one who has taken to this renunciation or who has understood the knowledge, he becomes a dead person as far as the world is concerned. For him, he is not the one who is dying. The world of multiplicity dies. Therefore, Brihat Lokam, Brahma Lokam. The multiplicity which appeared as separate till then becomes one. Therefore, the multiplicity dies. That is that Parandakale meaning should be taken not as a physical death or the body. Because for them, the body is also part of the world. Because they see the body as part of the Jagat. So when the multiplicity of the name and form in the world of objects goes, the death of his own body as a world of object which had gone through change from the childhood till now is also seen as a change of the name or form of the awareness in which it was existing. That is Para-Amrita. That then he becomes Amrita. Amrita means immortal because he identifies that it is the body which has till now had a separate entity. Now that is no more there. So I am the immortal. Then Parimuchandi is another word which has got. This is Much Dhatu, Much Mochane, means Mukti or liberation. Parimuchandi, what? Who? Muchandi is in plural. Yatayaha Parimuchandi. Those who have understood this knowledge, they resolve everything into through their knowledge as one and only one. Ekameva Dvidiyam Brahma. That knowledge is what is going to happen to such a person. So, Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitata Sannyasa Yoga Yataya Shuddha Sattva Te Brahma Lokeshu Parandakale Paramrita Parimuchandi Sarve. So, Sarve means there is no sarva or no multiplicity existing anymore for them. So it is a sarvatvam or the multiplicity which is getting dissolved, become mukti or freed from the multiplicity. The state of multiplicity is freed. Therefore the multiplicity doesn't stay as a multiplicity, it becomes one with the Brahma. Therefore Brahma Loka becomes one Loka, or it is not a world with multiple objects. There is only one. Ekameva Dvitiyam. Then comes the next mantra. Gyataha kalaha panchadasha pratishta devacha sarve pratidevatsu karmani vijnanamaya cha atma pare abhiye sarve eki bhavanti. Eki bhavanti means merges into one. What are the things? Gataha kalaha panchadashaha pratishta devacha sarve. All of the things. What are that? Time, kalaha. Now panchadasha here is panchadasha kalaha. Panchadasha Kalaha is the 15 kalas. In the Kala, what they say in the Prashnopanishad, in the 6th mantra, there is a question, there is a statement explaining what are the 16 kalas of Purusha. Prana masrujataha, prana shabda, kham vayu jyoti, apaha prithvi, indriyam manaha. Annam, annadviryam, tapo manna, tapam anna, karma loka, lokeshu cha namna cha. So these are the prana, from prana, the faith, space, air, fire, water, earth. Deva means organs, mind, food. From food comes viryam, with the virility, austerity, tapaha, and mantraha, the Vedic mantraha, karma, all the sacrifices and everything which we do. Lokaha, the worlds. And in the worlds, the names, from the world multiplicity, the names comes. So, these 16 are the one which is mentioned in the Prashnopanishad. So, referring to the here, he has left out in this Upanishad, he has said only Panchadasha Kalaha, 15 kalas. So, one which has been left out. Why did the question can come? Why did he leave out the 5 kalas, one kala here, when he mentioned that they all eki bhavanti? We can't get an answer in this Upanishad. So for that we have to go to the Brihadaranya Upanishad. Why it is happening? In the Brihadaranya Upanishad, Atharva is asking a question to Yajnavalkya. There he gives an answer. Sa prana masarjataha, panat shabdaha, kham vayu jyoti. This is the what Prashnopanishad mentioned. So what does the same thing is in that used by the Yajnavalkya in the Brihadaranya Upanishad when he says Yajnavalkya sahovaja atra ayam purusha mriyate kim enam na jahati. That is the Arthabhaga's question. When the Purusha here, when he dies, what is that which is going? That Nama iti anantam vai. Nama ananta vishwe deva anandam eva satena lokam jayati. So Yajnavalkya says that everything dissolves here except the Nama. What does it mean that other than Nama everything goes? The explanation given is that the names are, even if we look at our own this thing, the mind, intellect, body, physical body, everything has come as part of our birth. But the name has been given by the world from outside. It is a superimposition onto the body. So what is with us? The name, we cannot take it along with us because that we didn't bring it with us. So the name cannot be taken. Therefore, here the Panchadasha Kala is mentioned in this one, in this Upanishad. And the same thing in the Prashnopanishad also, he says the Nama remains when the dissolution takes place. So even though the 16 Kalas are mentioned, there also the name remains. Therefore, the name of a Brahmajnani remains as left out. That cannot be dissolved because that is not given by the Srishti has not brought the name along with it. It is being given by. Therefore, Panchadasha Kala Pratishtita Devacha. All these Devacha means all the Indriyas and the respective Devas or the powers behind that vision, sound, etc. Sarve Devaha. Prati Devasu, in their respective positions, they merge back. Karmani, in karma, Vijnana Mayacha, in the individuality, dissolves what? The actions, all the karmas, Sanchita, Prarabdha and Agami karma, and Vijnana Maya, the Jnana Maya, Atma, dissolves all those things. Pare Avyaye, and where does the Atman dissolve? Pare Avyaye, in the absolute Brahman, where all those things become one. Sarve Eki Bhavanti. So, the Panchadesha Kalas, all the organs, the Panchadesha Kalas, which includes in this one, Shankaracharya is using the Panchendriya, sense organs, Karmendriya, and the 5 sheets of body, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, all those bodies also is dissolved into this, and along with the karma, that because actions are being done by Manasa Vacha Karmana, so therefore they also dissolve through Vijnanamaya, becoming knowledge. Vijnanamaya is the nature in which they dissolve. When the knowledge knows what is these 15 and the karma, the knowledge dissolves the reality of their separate existence, because they all names and forms existing in awareness. So therefore the Vijnanamaya Atma dissolves all of them, and Pare Avyaye Eki Bhavanti, then dissolves into the absolute Brahman in dissolving that. Now for that the example is given here. Yada Nadhyaha Syandamanaha Samudre Astam Gacchandi Nama Rupe Vihaya Tada Vidwan Nama Rupat Vimuktaha Paratparam Purusham Upaiti Nivyam Yada Nadhya Syandamana Samudram. Just as the rivers flowing down from the hills and the mountains, Samudre Astam Gacchandi, they dissolve into the merging to ocean, they lose the Nama Rupa, the name and the form which they have as a river, a separate entity that is dissolved in the merging with the ocean. By dissolving means Nama Rupam Vihaya. The name and form is being no more there once you merge, the river merges, the water of the river merges into the ocean. Tata, like that, Vidwan, the one who is wise, Nama Rupat Vimuktaha. Here is the beauty of it. He gets freed from the name and form. The name and form will be seen by the world outside, but from his point of view, he is a Vimukta. So Nama Rupat Vimuktaha is a internal experience of the Vidwan, whereby Paratparam Purusham Upaiti, he becomes one with the absolute Purusha, which is effulgent, divyam in nature. That knowledge of the effulgence of the knowledge, which is the nature of the Purusha or the Brahman, in that, here is this is where the lot of discussions are happening in those commentaries. Whether this is the state is called the Jivan Mukta, Videha Mukta, or Sadhyo Mukti, etc., etc. There are different types of it. What are they? Basically, the theory says that Mukti is of 2 types. Sadhyo Mukti and Videha Mukti. Immediate liberation, Jivan Mukta and Videha Mukta. The other words which you can say that. Jivan Muktaha is Jivan Neva Muktaha. He is alive, but he is free from the normal entanglements of the heart, or the Hridaya Grandhi. So he is free from the bondages of the heart or the ignorance. He is no more under the clutches of ignorance, avidya maya. But he has not abandoned his body. Therefore, he appears to be living, and therefore he is called a Jivan Mukta. Now, Videha Mukta is another state which is being told in the scriptures, where the Deha is Vigata, means Vigata Deha. By leaving by casting away the body, the person becomes free. And as usual, people want to argue, they argue that no, Jivan Mukta is a state, he becomes absolutely free only after his body goes, when he becomes Videha Mukta. Then there are certain people saying that, no, Videha Mukta is a Krama Mukti. He slowly starts realizing that the ignorance, and then when he leaves his body, then only he becomes free. The question comes, Does the light remove darkness slowly, or when the knowledge happens, the ignorance about an object, does it go slowly? Like, the example which is used is that, the sunlight, when the dew melts slowly and the objects become clearer. That is the way in which, is it that way? Or is it like lightning? Like lightning, when it strikes, all the objects are lit at the same time. So these type of arguments are practically going on unabatedly even now, because people have not been, these arguments are valid only for people who are sitting on the other bank and describing what is happening on the other side of the bank, of the river. Unless you cross over to that, this is where I say, unless we shift our identification from the mind, body and intellect, these explanations will not make any sense. It will be nama matra, mere terminologies and explanation of the Upanishad. The Upanishad has no interest in giving terminology and definitions of, experiences. These are all words of the rishis who have experienced it. So he is telling from the point of a reality, of a truth. And how do we know this truth? Only if we become that. Therefore, nama rupa vimukta bhavati cheteva. If we remove our identification with the name and forms, not only of ourselves, but of everything which we transact in the world as names and forms, then only we will see the substratum which is common in me, you, the world, and every atom. Once we are shifting our identity from the name and form which are transient in nature, which is temporary in nature, experienced only during the waking, the dream has a different body and name, the deep sleeper has neither of them. So we know that they are not permanent in nature, yet we have one awareness which says that I went to dream, I went to deep sleep, I was awake. So the one who knows the three changes happening in him has to be different from that. Therefore, shift our identity to that awareness which is the observer or which knows everything. Once we shift that, then only we will see that everything is like that. That is where the nama rupat vimuktaha paraparam purusham upeti vidyabhyam. This mantra is that way. Then comes the 9th mantra, which says that Sayoha vai paramam brahma veda brahmaiva bhavati na asya brahmavit kule bhavati tarati shokam tarati patmanam guha gandhibhyo vimukto amruto bhavanti. This is the last upadesha of the mantra, or the last instruction from the rishi. What does it say? Sayoha vai tat paramam. He who is indeed has understood what I have been telling till now. He is Brahmavit. He is the one who knows about Brahman. One who knows about Brahman is not different from Brahma. Brahmavit Brahmaiva bhavati. How does it happen? Brahman is not something separate from you. When he is talking at Tat Tvamasi, when the Upanishad, not this Upanishad, the other Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, say Tat Tvamasi. When you are said that you are so and so, we have the knowledge of happening, I am so and so. Or when somebody says you have become a father, you know that you have become a father, or your grandfather, you said you become a grandfather, or become a grandfather. That is a knowledge based on the circumstances. I'm not talking about the total picture of it. I'm talking about the knowledge aspect only. When somebody tells you an information, that information makes you feel that you are owner of that knowledge. And if the knowledge is pertaining about yourself, it is not that you are knowing about something outside, but knowing something about yourself. That is the place where you become the knowledge. See, if I say that if I was told that I am in XYZ place, that is a knowledge of XYZ as a place, and I am as a physical body is in that place. Now, if somebody says that I am in my house, this is the hotel in which I am staying, or this is the room number you are saying. When you collect the key from your hotel, you say that you are number 304 or whatever may be the number of the room. Then you know that you identify yourself with the not. Still, the room is different from you or something. There, your proximity comes closer. You, as long as you are occupying the room, you say my room. Even though you have never purchased the room, that room was never yours. While the time of using, as long as you are not checking out, you say it is my room. And you will tell any friend, come to my room, we'll discuss that. Why my room? You didn't purchase the room, but it was an outside one. Yet we have that attitude of saying that it is mine. But here is something which is said that you are that. Tadu tvamasi. When that is being said, what is the type of knowledge we all get it? That knowledge is not a knowledge about an object or a possession or anything other than but our own nature. That is the time when the knowledge becomes ours and we become the knowledge. The knowledge is not separate. The object of the knowledge is not separate. The knower is not separate. The knower, the knowledge and the knowing becomes one. Tadeva, that is exactly the same say, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. One who has understood Brahma, what is the nature of Brahma, Sarvam Khaluidam Batma, Ayamatma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. All those words are telling what? Each one of us, our real nature is Brahma. Yet, as long as we have the doubt, samshaya, ajnana, viparyaya, we will not accept it. That will not become our knowledge, or we will not become Brahma or Atma because we doubt it. We are having expectation in our mind that something should happen. It is an experience out of the world, or somebody should bring and the light should, flash in my head, or something, some change should happen from my normal living. How can that be not happening when somebody is being told? It is because we have the doubt, samshaya, ajnana. Ajnana is ignorance about not only ourselves, but also about Brahman. Because we are being told that you are the Brahman. So we do not know who we are, we do not know who is Brahman. Therefore, we have a problem of making that Aham Brahmasmi is not a knowledge. So, Ajnana. Then Samshaya. Samshaya comes from this point of view when we say that even if it is told, how can it be? This knowledge should bring a different experience for me from this normal experience which I am having in my world of experiences. Because this is something which, which people are not getting on a normal basis. So I should have a different experience from the normal people. This is samshaya. And what is viparyaya? Viparyaya is for people who have heard stories about, the nectar falling through the brain, or, a light flashing, 1,000 suns rising, coming inside. These are all viparyaya, which are the three things. These three are not the truth. The truth is that you are Brahman. Every one of us are of that nature. At this very moment, we are all Brahmatnyans. We have the knowledge of Brahman, and we are Brahman, and everything what we are knowing is Brahman. But we are not accepting it because of the three defects which I told earlier. If we can know this without a doubt, and if it becomes your conviction, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. And only that is the state of Vimukti. All the mantras or explanations which I have been telling till now, this Upanishad has to culminate with this knowledge and becoming that you undoubtedly, or without even a doubting even for an iota of a second, we should know that our nature is this awareness, not the physical body, not the mind, not the anything. All of them are in me as awareness, the name and forms and etc. The names and forms are temporary, they are not reality. The reality is that I was aware of them. Everything is an awareness. I, as an individual, is also an awareness. It's only what is reality is that bodham. Pratibodha viditam matam. That is the only truth which is what we have to realize. When we shift to that identification of that awareness, then Brahmaiva bhavati, we become Brahma. Na Brahmavit kule bhavati. What? In asya Brahmavit kule na asya Brahmavit kule bhavati. In his kula, for 7 generations, there will not be none other than Brahmavit. This is what the mantra says. If one knows it, not only he becomes, now this mantra has got a twist in it. Typical meaning is that if one person becomes Brahma, the mantra says that 7 generations prior to him, 7 generations after to him, he will become Brahmavit. It is not that those people will become Brahmavit. From his point of view, being in his kula means here don't take that the jati kula or the birth. Here the Vasudeva Kutumbakam, Vasudha Eva Kutumbam. The whole universe is your kulam. So there is nothing other than Brahma in his kula. Even before there was nothing, nobody who was not a Brahma. There is not going to be anybody who is not a Brahma even after that. So this feeling of there was no birth and death, all those things are all notions in awareness. So that also gets nullified. So Brahmaiva bhavati sarvam khaluidam Brahma, or Ayam Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, all of them are merging together into one unified experience. And what is the benefit of it? Tarati shokam tarati patmanam. Guha grandibhyo vimuktaha amrita bhavanti. Shokam, sorrow. How does the sorrow come? When you have a separation, then a sorrow can come. How does a papa come? Or the sin? When you do something bad or do another thing. When you are neither having action nor having desire, how can there be papa? How can there be sharuka? So he crosses over the sorrows. He is beyond the papas and beyond the sorrows. Guha grandibhyo vimuktaha. Guha grandibhya means in the heart, whatever the ignorance of the 3 type of ignorance which we have been mentioned about it. Samshaya, Ajnana, Viparyaya. These 3 grandhis, Guha grandhi, vimuktaha, freed from that. Amrita bhavanti. Such a person becomes immortal because for him there is no more birth and death. He is in awareness. Awareness never dies. Awareness never takes birth. Awareness never travels anywhere. Awareness is sarvagatam. Awareness is all. Sarvam khalidam Brahma. It is all pure awareness only, bodham only. The pratibodha viditam. Every bodham is experiencing, everything is that. That moment, there is no moment which is without bodham. Even in the deepest of the deepest sleep, the bodham is the one with which you remained it. So, he becomes free from that. With this, the Upanishad is over, and the next 2 mantras are is an instruction for the teachers who are going to teach that, as well as the students who are going to learn. Kriyavandaha Shrotriya Brahmanishta Swayam Juhrita Ekarshim Shraddhayantaha Teshamevatam Brahmavidyam Vedata Shirovratam Vidivat Astu Chirnam. Now, the following has been laid down as the duties for the teacher as well as the student who is there. So, Shrotriya, he has to have the faith and study of the Shastras. And he should be Brahmanishta. He should have the Nishta or Vritti. Brahmakara vritti. Brahma vritti should be there in such a person. He should be thinking only about Brahman. Swayam Juhuda. He offers himself. He performs himself or he offers himself as a ahuti. Or it means his personality or his individuality is being offered in the altar of Brahmanishta. That is the ritual called Ekarni Vidya, Ekarshi Yajna. Shraddayanda, with the faith, one who does this Ekarshi, Juhuti, the yaga, Tesham eva etam, to only to those people, one must impart. The teacher should know that the student is Brahmanishtaha, Srotriya, and he has Swayam Juhudi. He is the one who has left or removed all his personality, individuality. So, and Sirovratam Vidivatsu Chirnam. The performance of here, Sirovratam has, in the last class, there was a question on the Sirovratam explanation. The Sirovratam explanation in the Vedic part of the Vedas says that there are three different places where it has been mentioned as three different exercises. One is Mundana Kriya, base of which this Upanishad got the name Mundaka Upanishad. Because the tonsuring of your head, except keeping the tuft at the back of the head, that should be the way in which the Veda should be studied, is one of the places. Brahmacharya, before initiation into Brahmacharya, that is one of the instructions. There is another one which says that they do a type of a penance by keeping in the tonsured head, they hold cow dung as create a temporary holding place for the oil with a lamp on that, so that the cow dung holds the head. The hot oil will be there in the head, which will be holding that. They have to hold on to that till the lamp extinguishes itself. That is the second one. And the third one is saying that they even burn their tuft at the back of the head, and they run towards the water for burning it. I don't know which one is right. I don't take any one of them in the literal sense, because they're all, exaggerations given it. Basically, in my own explanation is that whose head is firm or the intellect is firm in understanding these studies is to be taken as a Shirovratam. His Vratam or he puts a fence around his intellect that he will not think anything other than the Brahman from the Shastras. And then one who does that Chirnam, that performs that duty of the Vidivat in the performance of duty, only to such a student that the master should teach this Shastra. Because if there is no faith in the teaching, if there is half-hearted attempt to that, these words of the Rishi becomes useless. You cannot achieve anything by that. It's like reading any fiction or non-fiction novel and throwing it out. It will not make any sense unless this makes sense and it becomes your knowledge. I said, how does the knowledge become yours? I've explained earlier. So only from that point of view, this becomes useful. Therefore, what they say, Tat edat satyam rishi angiraha purovacha naidat chirna vrido adite. Do not teach this for people who are not doing Shirovrata and Chirna Vrata adite. That is what the Angiras has instructed to one. Namo Parama Rishibhya, Namo Parama Rishibhya. He is giving the salutation to the entire tradition of the rishis who have passed on these generations, and to the rishis who will be going to teach this in the future also. So both the Paramarishibhya for the past and Paramarishibhya for the future, both are covered by the Nama Paramarishibhya, Nama Paramarishibhya by twice singing that. With that, we have concluded the Mundaka Upanishad, and I'll chant the Chanti Mantra and stop it. Om Badram Karne Vishrunayama Devaha Badram Pasye Makshabir Yajatraha स्थिरै अङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमि स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् धन्यवाद. Thank you all for